afternoon. Today is Sunday, February 16th, 2020. My name is Ricardo Sandoval, and this video is for week 5 of Biology 230. Today I will be talking about the axial and appendicular skeleton. Okay, so as part of the axial skeleton, we have the nasal bone, which is our nose, which is here. The sphenoid bone is located in the eye socket, so it's right in there. The lacrimal bone is where our tears generate from, or where our lacrimal duct is. The lacrimal bone is right here, just on the side. The ethmoid bone is located right next to the lacrimal bone, so just, again, right in there. The zygomatic bone is our cheekbone, so this is our zygomatic bone. Our maxilla is our upper jaw, so this is our maxilla. And then the mandible is the lower jaw, so that's the mandible here. Frontal bone is here. And then our vomer is here. Okay, now looking at the skull from a posterior view, the mandible is here, again, the lower jaw. The occipital bone is here. The parietal bones are here, this side and this side, and then the temporal bones from this view is right back here. This is our temporal bone. All right. Now, from a side view, or a lateral view, the ethmoid bone continues to be in the eye socket, so right about there. Frontal bone is here. Lateral bone is still in the eye sockets. Mandibles are lower jaw. Maxilla is our upper jaw. Nasal bone is here. The occipital bone from this view is located right about there. The parietal bone is here, temporal bone is here, and then our zygomatic bone, cheekbone, is here. All right, next up is the inferior, or the interior of the skull. So, front of the skull, back of the skull. All right, so my ethmoid bone, or the ethmoid bone, is located here. This is the ethmoid bone. Frontal bone, frontal. The occipital bone from this view is at the rear, so occipital bone is back here. And then the parietal bone is located on the side, so right about here. The sphenoid bone is here, where the stella turcica that Turkish chair the textbook talks about is here. And then the temporal bone, or bones, are located right here on the side. All right. Okay. So, moving on to the back. So the vertebrae. So the atlas is the first cervical vertebrae, which is here. The axis is the second vertebrae, so that's here. The cervical vertebrae are the first 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The coccyx is here at the tip of the sacrum. The lumbar vertebrae are the final 5, the lower back of the vertebrae. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The sacrum is here. And then the thoracic vertebrae are right under the cervical, so they're after the first 7. So again, cervical is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And thoracic make up 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That is my thoracic vertebrae. Okay, now we're moving on to the thoracic cage. Okay. So the body of my sternum, the body is here. This is the body of the sternum. False ribs are ribs 8 through 10 because they don't connect directly to the sternum themselves. They connect to the next highest rib. So, let's see here. 8, 9, and 10. Sorry, 8, 9, and 10. These are false ribs. I have 2 floating ribs, which are ribs 11 and 12, because they don't connect at all, as you can see. They terminate in the musculature of the lateral abdominal wall. The manubrium of the sternum is right here. This is the manubrium of the sternum. And then the true ribs, because they attach directly to the sternum themselves, are the first 7. So this is rib 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Alright, so next up we're going to talk about the pectoral girdle and the upper limbs. So the clavicle bone, this is our clavicle here, clavicle. And then the humerus, this is our upper arm. This is our humerus here. The radius of the forearm. Sorry here. This is our radius. Our scapula is our shoulder blade. So from this view, this is the scapula here. And then the ulna, again, of the forearm, this is the ulna. Sorry, the ulna is here. This is the longer of the two wrist bones. This is the ulna. Okay, now we're talking about the wrist and the hand, and bear with me because this bone is, on the model, this is very small, so I'll do my best to show everything to you. Basically, all of the bones of the, basically consider the capitate, the hamate, the lunate, the scaphoid, sesamoid, trapezium, all of including the pisiform, the trapezoid, and the triquetrum. They're basically all in 2 rows, so they're all located here. And unfortunately, given that this is just not very detailed, it's hard for me to point out each one, but they're basically all here in 2 rows. There's a distal row and a proximal row. Okay. From there, the metacarpal portion of the fingers is here. These are metacarpals, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The phalange, or the phalangeal portion of the phalanges, there's distal and proximals, of course, are these portions here of the hands. Okay. Now the pelvic girdle and the lower limbs. So the ilium is this kind of spoon-shaped portion here. The ischium is this portion here. This is our ischium, or ischial area. Ischium. The pubic bone is here. So ischium, pubic bone, kind of in the same area. Our femur is here, a long bone. Patella is our kneecap. And then our tibia is down here. Tibia and our fibula, both located right down here. Okay. From there, we're going to talk about the ankle and the foot. And again, kind of the same issue as with the wrist and the hand. It's quite challenging for me to point out every single bone, just because this model isn't super detailed. But again, as far as the intermediate cuneiform, lateral cuneiform, the cuboid, the navicular, and those types of bones are basically located in these 2 rows here. The calcaneus is here. And then the cuboid bone is right here. The metatarsals on the toes or the foot is here. The phalanges or the phalange are this portion of the foot. And then the talus is right about here. Okay, that will conclude my video for this week. Thank you.